Hello and welcome to episode 9 of the Sussex by the Sea podcast, a podcast about all things Hastings United. I'm your host Chris Laverick, and in today's show we have Bill Boydell, over 70 years a U's fan, with his stories of yesteryear and some current day talk too. It really was a great pleasure to speak to Bill, and I hope it's the first of several appearances. Also in the show we have all the news of the first Sussex by the Sea quiz, and your questions are asked by the great Pat McCrossan. Get involved, Hastings fans, and you've got a chance to win a replica shirt, presented by the great man himself. We also have our regular segments, the Fixture Alert, Pat McCrossan's Song Pick of the Week, and of course, the Fan Roundtable. Enjoy, Hastings fans, and now, over to Bill.
Hello.
Hello, is Bill there?
Yes, it's I speaking.
Oh, hello, Bill. It's Chris from the podcast. Bill, it's obviously because it's a real pleasure to talk to you. To me, you're like a treasure trove of memories, and it's just about how I can get these memories across on the podcast for all the fans. Because I know I've spoken to quite a few people. A lot of people don't want us, that I've spoken to physically at the game and that. And I said I was talking to yourself, and they were like, "Oh, it's really good," and they couldn't think of things to ask you. Which is a bit annoying, but it don't help me.
I'll just waffle on then.
Yeah, no, that's me, mate. That's my job. I waffle. I'm the waffler. You come out with the good stuff. What we could do, Bill, if you've got a minute. When did you first start watching Hastings?
I saw the first game that they ever played as Hastings United at the Pilot Field. I think it was my dad took me. I was 9 years old. And that's when I first got interested in football. I'd never seen a football match up to then.
So what year, Bill? What year was that?
I think it was 48, 49.
48, 49. Yeah. Yeah. So you saw the first game. Can you remember who it was?
I can't remember who they played. No, I'm sorry.
No. Yeah.
You're an old kid, but I know that I enjoyed it, and that's when I got interested and started playing myself.
Yeah. What were you? Were you a keen footballer?
No, I was only playing for the school, that's all. I played for the junior school for a couple of years, and then I played at I went to the grammar school and played for them.
Oh, okay.
And I wanted to be a footballer, but I wasn't good enough, and I knew it.
Yeah.
I played when I was 14, I was playing for my dad's works team. He was working at the Observer, and I played in the Hastings League for the Observer, but that was a bit of a rough affair, that was, because I was only 14 and I'm playing against people that, a lot bigger and heavier than me. I take a few knocks, but in those days you accepted it. You didn't roll around on the floor and scream at people.
Oh, God, yeah, not like now, eh? Bloody hell.
I cannot believe it. I watch the football on the television and I see these guys, and they roll over on the ground like they've been poleaxed, and all someone's done. I mean, all right, sometimes they do get caught, I must admit, but half the time, especially when they go around holding their face and all they've been done is some naughty man on the other side has pushed them in the chest.
Yeah.
It gets me.
No, yeah, no one likes that, Bill. I know that.
No. I mean, it's like when you see them coming off the pitch, they take their shirt off and they got their six-pack and their biceps and all that. And 10 minutes earlier, they were rolling on the ground. Knocked them over. Yeah, it's unbelievable. That's one thing I find about the league that Hastings are in, that people don't do that.
Yeah.
All right, people get injured, yes. But they don't roll around and run around after the referee trying to get a card and all that. They don't do it in this because there's not so much money involved. That's what it's all about.
Well, I suppose equally, I think we wouldn't let it happen, would we? I mean, I know us I would hope so. But most of the fans I'm around, they're not having any of that. They're not none of that rubbish. But all right, but let's talk about what was your favourite all-time player? You've been watching for over 70 years. Who is the one that stands out the most?
Well, for Hastings, you mean?
Well, we could talk Hastings, and then we could talk of all time as well.
My old time player. I thought Bobby Moore was a brilliant guy. He played for West Ham and never let them down, did he? He was never brilliant, I don't think, but he was always continuously good.
Yeah.
I like Bobby Charlton because he was such a gentleman on the field. I thought George Best was a genius. And I thought Gascoigne was magic, but of course Gascoigne and Best they sort of went astray at the end. But I thought they were magic.
The Gascoigne, I had the pleasure of watching him when he was at Newcastle and when he was at Spurs. Because I'm originally a QPR fan. I used to live only down the road from there. and obviously followed them home and away.
Yeah.
And people would kick the lumps out of Gascoigne. And he would just bounce off them. The ball was glued to his feet. He was a fantastic player. Unfortunately, he had the drink was the demon, and
that's right.
And it eventually wins, which is a real shame.
The other guy I really liked watching. I saw the last game that Stanley Matthews played for Stoke against Chelsea. I was determined to see that man play. And, I was in the RAF and I was stationed near London, and we went and saw it. And he played for about half an hour, I suppose. But he got so many. He was 50 years old, I think, at the time, and he couldn't take the knocks. I mean, people weren't fouling him; they were just knocking him. But it was just a pleasure to watch him. He still got it at 50.
Yeah, but what about favourite Hastings players, Bill?
I go back now to when I used to watch him as a teenager. I mean, I thought that Sid Asher was a brilliant centre forward, and I loved Girling and Parks, the two little wingers. I mean, they were just little guys. I don't know, they 5'7", something like that. I suppose 5 foot. They just, and the whole of the Hastings team in that day, it seemed that when they came off the pitch, they were absolutely knackered because they'd given everything they could possibly give, and that's why I think that's the way a footballers should come off the pitch. They should come off shattered. It doesn't matter how fit they are at the beginning of the game. If they put enough into it, it should completely shatter them. But I thought they were great, those three. And the best player that Hastings, I think, ever had was Terry Griffiths, who was the centre half and the captain in the 50s.
Yeah.
He was out of this world. A big, tall guy, and he was brilliant. I can remember most of the players, Girling, Parks, Asher, I think the Barr brothers, Boone. I'm not sure. Thompson and Tomlinson played, but I'm not sure which one was the goalkeeper. But there again, it's like 60, 70 years ago. So, but they used to play. The thing that everybody seems to remember is the Norwich game. All the memories seem to centre around the Norwich game, and that was a brilliant day out. I mean, we got there about an hour and a half before the game started because we knew it was going to be a big crowd, and we managed to get on the halfway line up against the fence.
All right.
The side opposite the grandstand. But in those days, they could use that grass bank. Was an absolute mass of people, and they even went to the lengths inside on the cinder track all the way around the ground. They put benches, these long wooden benches, and I think there were about 4 rows of them all the way around the ground, and people were allowed in there, and they were all sitting inside the railings because that's the way they got that big crowd in.
Yeah.
The atmosphere was unbelievable.
Oh,
the only disappointment that day probably was when Asher missed the penalty. He'd taken the penalties ever since he'd been there, and he'd always scored. He'd never missed one, and he didn't blast them or try and be clever. They virtually went along the ground into the corner. They were like daisy cutters, just inside the post, and he scored every one. And on that Norwich day, the ground was in the goal areas was just a mass of mud. And it wasn't just that Hastings hadn't kept their pitch right. In those days, the Division 1.
Yeah, it was a lot of that.
They were covered in mud. And he stroked this penalty, and literally the goalkeeper just sort of walked and picked it up.
Oh, God.
It just went in the mud.
Oh, no.
It was a tremendous atmosphere. But what people seem to forget, I think, is that in the previous round to that, they played Swindon Town at home and beaten them 4-1 in the previous round. And people don't seem to mention that, and that was a brilliant game as well. I think Swindon at the time were in Division 3.
I think it would have been that.
They're about 2 or 3 tiers above Hastings, I think. And Hastings had annihilated them. And the other game that people don't ever mention is, I think it was the following year, when they played at Hillsborough against Sheffield Wednesday. And that was as good a result, although they lost, it was really as good a result as when they drew with Norwich, because they only lost 2-1. They're actually winning 1-0 at half-time.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, they were winning 1-0 at half-time. And I didn't get to that game, but apparently the second Sheffield Wednesday goal was so offside you could have driven a bus between the scorer and the defender. But there you go. But that was brilliant. It was a shame that when they lost the replay to Norwich, because they lost 5-2, I think it was. and there we go. But Norwich went to Arsenal in the next round, went to Highbury, and they beat Arsenal 1-0 at Highbury. So they did pretty well drawing with them.
Well, exactly. That's no mean feat at all then, because the Arsenal at that time were a top side. Well, they've always been a top side, didn't they? But
yeah, they did very, very well. How football has changed over the years, it amazes me, the things. I mean, I think I said to you once before about who remembers flags on the halfway line. I don't know when they stopped doing that, but it must have been early 60s probably when they were still had flags on the halfway line. So I remember the first game I ever played for my dad's works team was at a pitch which was just above the Boss. There's a housing estate there now.
Okay.
That was a sloping old pitch. And the first game I played, I noticed that the flags on the halfway line were actually on the byline, on the thing. And I thought, well, that's a couple of foot back. And of course, being a 14-year-old big mouth, I mentioned it to the referee.
Yeah. Oh dear.
My neighbour was mud. That was Hooven. Yeah. How football has changed over the years. I mean, some of the things that have come in, well, not a long time ago, but fairly recent years. Like, I mean, who was the first person to start wearing black woolly gloves? I can understand that an overseas player coming in from a tropical country and playing on a freezing day in December, okay, he's going to put some gloves on to acclimatise. But now you've got players born in this country playing in August, wearing bloody gloves. And I think,
wimps.
Was it to avoid breaking a fingernail? And then the next thing that we had was people pulling their socks right up so that they touch their shorts.
Yeah.
And I think now, are they surgical socks for some reason? Or did Mum tell you mustn't get your knees dirty? I can't really see. And then, of course, you've got the latest thing I see that I know that the women have learned a lot by watching the men play, and obviously they've taken a lot from the men's game. But now we think that appeals to me on a tongue-in-cheek sort of thing. You see players now with their shirts and they're wearing what appears to be a black bra.
I've seen that. Yeah.
Is that for some medical reasons, or is it warn your fellow players not to drop the soap in the shower? I don't know. It's crazy.
Oh dear.
But I mean, the other thing I can always think about is one of the most feared men in any team. Well, it wasn't a player; it was the trainer. Because on the sideline, you only got the manager and the trainer sitting on the bench virtually. And a player would get injured. It'd be a cold day. A player would get injured. He'd go down, and you'd see the trainer coming across the pitch. Now, the trainer, who in those days, in the early 50s, his medical qualification was probably a first aid badge in the Scouts.
Yeah.
And he had his medical equipment consisted of a galvanised bucket full of freezing water and a sponge. And the guy that was injured would see him coming. He'd probably get to his feet and say, "It's okay, it could be a fracture, but I'll run it off." But one that ice water on a cold day.
Oh dear.
Well, I mean, Bert Troutman. I do remember Bert Troutman played in the cup final.
Was that broken neck, wasn't it?
Broken bone in his neck, and he carried on playing. I mean, the guy must have been in agony. But
all for the fear of the sponge.
Sorry?
All for the fear of the sponge.
The cold sponge.
Yeah.
It used to be. I remember when I played for the Observer, they had a little bit of a changing room there, but they didn't have any running water. And if you wanted to wash your hands and your face after a game and it was cold, you took your boot off and you broke the ice in the rain barrel. And you get some water out of there to pull your hands off and that. Things like that. You didn't have the facilities that you do now. But it was a good time to be involved in football. I'm afraid that it's like the modern game. I get very bored, and I mustn't do this. It might be knocking Hastings a bit, but I find that this passing back to the goalkeeper is actually. I know teams win games and all that, but I watched Hastings the other day, and in the first 4 minutes they passed back to Roger 9 passes back to the goalkeeper in the first 4 minutes.
Yeah.
And all the teams are doing it. I'm not saying that Hastings is the only one. Every team does it. But it seems to slow the game down so much. But maybe you won't put that bit in.
Oh, I can put it in if you want. I'll get Aggie, because Aggie.
It's my opinion. I think
Yeah, we're all entitled to our opinions,
other
Bill.
people
Don't worry about that.
I mean, I can excuse them doing that if they're winning 1-0 in the last 2 minutes. Yeah, you waste a bit of time. That's all in the game. But to be doing it from the offset, you know, if the goalkeeper kicks the ball up the pitch,
Yeah.
The forwards have got as big a 50-50 chance of getting the ball as the other side's defenders. And I think that's what makes it a bit more exciting. But anyway, if that's the way the game's being played, I'll have to put up with it. They ain't going to change it for my sake.
Well, you never know. Aggie does listen. You know, he might have to have words with you. You know, well, it's about all spreading the play out, isn't it, and stretching the pitch and all that.
I mean, it's very clever the way they do it. The passing is accurate and all that, but it does leave you a bit worried sometimes when they do it. You know, I mean, sometimes you wonder if it's a good thing to do. I don't know. If it wins games, Hastings are winning, then let's knock it. You know.
Well, yeah. Don't get me wrong, Bill. Like, I'm nearly 46. So I remember like where you used to not pass back to the goalie because the goalie might miss it or give it to the opposition.
Yeah.
These days, these goalies are really good. I mean, I am a bit nervous whenever it goes back. Yeah, I'm with you on that one, but it's the modern way, and you know, Aggie knows best. So, and you know,
Related in years gone by, he could pass back to the goalkeeper
and pick it up. Yeah.
He was restricted in the amount of movement. He could only take 3 steps with the ball before he bounced it, and he could only bounce it 3 times. So he was restricted in the amount of movement he can get, and then he would kick it right up the field. Now the goalkeeper can get the ball. He can run around all over the place with it while his forwards get forward, and then he rolls it out to someone who's standing 2 foot away from him. It's frustrating sometimes.
But Bill, we're talking about the current team. I mean, what's your thoughts? I mean, I know you were saying about passes, but what's your opinion of our start to the season?
I think the season's been great. Yeah, I mean the first game at the first league game, I think that was a getting together game. You know, they did very well to draw against a good team.
Yeah.
You know, and as I've watched them, I've only seen the home games, I haven't seen the away games. But as I've watched them, they're getting better. They've got better each time. They seem to have more. They've got. What I think about Hastings is they've got confidence in each other.
Yeah.
You know, because they just seem to have a certain amount of confidence in what they're doing, and I'm sure that this season they're going to do very well. They're going to do as well this season as they did last season, if not better.
Yeah. I mean, I've managed
they
to.
couldn't do much better than they did last year.
Well, of course not. Well, hopefully they can. Hopefully we can finish this bloody season and we don't get it stopped.
Oh, it'd be terrible if we got it stopped again.
Yeah. Well, hope. Cross fingers. I mean, I've managed to catch a couple of the away games as well, Bill, and you're spot on. You know, it has that rhythm's been there, and as the games have gone on, I mean, that VCD team. I mean, I thought we made it look quite easy. I mean, I know they nicked a goal towards the end, but like, I thought.
No, the VCD team were a good team. They had 1 or 2 really good players. There was a dark chap on the left wing, and he was bloody good. He was mustard. He was, but you know, I thought we did. The defence did very, very well.
Yeah, they were very solid on that count. I mean, I remember a few years back, it was who's going to score more, isn't it? But these days, it's that's defence has become very solid.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, thinking about the woolly gloves, I just looking at the notes of it. Thinking about the woolly gloves, they started wearing those. What amazes me now is the size of the goalkeepers' gloves. You know, I mean, wicket keepers all over the world.
Yeah, you think about Alan Knott. Alan Knott could have done with those.
I know. I mean, they're massive. And it amazes me that the goalkeeper will make a save and the commentator on the telly will say, "Oh, that was a wonderful save, lovely strong wrists."
Oh.
And you think, he's wearing gloves that go a third of the way up his forearm, and he's got Velcro wrapped all around them. I mean, what do you mean strong wrists? It seems strange that they wear those. I'll tell you a story that happened thinking about gloves.
Yeah.
It was years ago. It must have been around 1980, I think. my father-in-law and a friend of mine, we went to watch Ashford, and we went into the bar, and we had a pint, and there were 3 or 4 young lads in there, and they'd had a pint.
Yeah.
And when we were sitting near the bar, when the lads went back up, one of them said, we'll have 4 more pints, not so much water this time. And the barman took his step and we told him to get out.
Okay.
And, he took them out.
All right.
And they went and stood behind the Ashford goal in the first half. And we didn't see them do this, but this was in the days when goalkeepers only wore gloves if it was really wet or horrible. They'd set a pair of gloves in the net. Like. And when they came off at half-time, this goalkeeper was moaning like a drain. One of the lads had got forward and cut the fingers out of his glove. Yeah. We thought it was hilarious, but the goalkeeper didn't. Yeah. One of the lads had when they cut the fingers, they'd taken the fingers out of his glove. As it was to get back at the barman for not giving them a beer. No, there's a lot of things that have changed, and a lot of it is for the better. You know, getting back to the olden days, something I just thought about as well. I noticed there's a picture of the programme, the Norwich programme, on your thing. Yeah. And I noticed that the price of the programme was 3p. Now, in modern times, that was old money. In modern times now, that would be 1.25 pence. So in those days, you could buy 80 programmes for £1. 80 programmes now would cost you 200 quid.
Yeah.
It's a difference, isn't it?
I know.
I also noticed there that the kick-off was at 2:15. Well, that would be about right in January because we didn't have any floodlights.
Oh, was that the reason? Was that the reason then? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we didn't have any floodlights then. I don't remember when the floodlights first came in, but they were pretty basic type lights. They weren't right unless it rained, because the floodlight it had a great big lampshade, like a big lampshade with one huge bulb in it. I think it was one bulb, or it might have been 2, that were just like ordinary big light bulbs, about 20 times bigger. And they were very good, and unless it rained, and if it rained and the wind swept the rain across the field, if the rain got onto one of the bulbs, it would pop. It didn't happen all the time, but it was quite amazing. You could hear a bit of a bang and the light would go out, because they didn't have any shield to them. Yeah. But they were all right. I mean, they worked okay. Everyone used to watch the game all the way through. But, I mean, I can remember when Hastings also, I don't know when it was, that must have been in the 60s or 70s, I think, when they were so poor, they were financially, but that they, at half-time, they used to send the ball boys round with a blanket, holding a blanket, and people throwing coins into the blanket to help them with their finances.
Oh, wow.
I think it was in the 70s, I think. That was when we had, in the 60s, when we had the mascot that Hastings had, was a guy called Gus. He was getting on in years, and he used to dress up in a claret and blue sort of suit with the long tails to it, very smart, on a top hat. Yeah. His name was Gus. He did it for years and years. He was the mascot. But there are things that, I mean, people are, you can go back and things come back to mind. I mean, when I've finished speaking to you, there'll probably be some more things I can remember. But
well, that's what I wanted to say to you, Bill. Like, I'd love to have you on from time to time, because as you say, you remember things from, you've got such a, 70 years of watching and still watching.
I was in the forces for 22 years and the Navy for a couple of years, so I had a long time when I didn't get to see them. And I think I said to you the other day, that when they got drawn against Sheffield Wednesday, my mate and I went to a place called Selby to watch them in the round before.
Yeah.
Tell you about that?
Yeah, but please tell us again.
Well, the round before they played Sheffield Wednesday that year, they got drawn against a team called Selby, which is up in Yorkshire. And a friend of mine and I, we were only 14 maybe 15, 14 or 15. Anyway, we wanted to go, but we couldn't afford to go, obviously, and we sort of really wanted. So what we did, we got an old pram from somewhere, forget where we got it, and we went round the houses collecting jam jars, because jam jars you could get a penny or tuppence on a jar, depending on what size they were. And we were taking them back, and we every single night, all day Saturday, and we went round and we were trying to get the train fare to get up there. Yeah. And we went to one old chap's house, and he said they hadn't got any jam jars, but he got some soda siphons, and he gave us, I think it was 6 soda siphons, and of course they were worth quite a bit. We took them back to the grocers. I think this grocers must have thought that we were stealing things. We took them jam jars back to his place, but he kept paying us. And we got up to Selby and we went, and they won, I can't remember what it was now, 4 something, I think they won at Selby. And we came back, and on the Monday we sat listening to the draw for the next round. And of course it was Sheffield Wednesday, and we couldn't go. We couldn't afford to go. We couldn't do the jam jar trick again. But it was a shame. If they hadn't played Selby the round before, you'd have been there. You got to see the Sheffield game.
Yeah.
But it was things that you did in those days. You know, you really wanted to do something. You went round and you took your finger out and you went round and collected your money.
Absolutely.
As if you were that keen. It's just how keen you are, whether you're going to put the effort in.
Yeah.
But I do think that Hastings this year are going to do well. The manager is doing a great job, and the team seems to have. He's got a good squad together. You know, he's got people sitting on the sub bench, which in any other team in that league would be playing every week. You know, he's got some, and they're all good players. There doesn't seem to be any stars. You know, not outstanding stars, but they're all good players. And as I say, they all seem to work for each other very, very well.
Yeah, it's good to see.
I've got my ticket for this next Saturday and next Tuesday. So.
Have you? Oh, excellent.
So what happened is my son was a Brighton supporter.
Yeah.
And he's been a Brighton supporter for the last 5 or 6 years. He's been going over to nearly every home game, taking my great-grandson with him. And I've been 2 or 3 times. But I've enjoyed going because it's a day out with my son and my great-grandson.
Yeah.
But really, I would have rather have, instead of travelling all the way over there to watch Brighton, I would rather go to the pilot field.
Absolutely.
That's how I look at it. But it's been nice, not just to go and watch Brighton, but I've seen Man United and Liverpool and them. It's been good to see the big teams, but I don't get the thrill out of it as I do watching my own team. You know. Yeah. Anyway, my son has packed up going to Brighton. He cancelled his fan club membership, and he's now watching Hastings every week.
Top man. That's
he gets the tickets for me.
Yeah.
He gets whenever he's going, he gets the tickets for me because that's the way we do it. And we've enjoyed it. My young great-grandson, he plays for, I think, Settlescombe or something.
Yeah.
That's right. He's the Settlescombe youth team. And he's played 4 games now and scored 14 goals.
Oh, brilliant.
They've been winning, they've been having big wins. 10-1 and 11-0 and all that. But he's quite good. He's a big lad for his age. He's doing well.
So, Bill, could this be that you could become a football agent? Could you sign him up? You know?
No, that's a bit beyond me.
No? Oh,
Anyway, I can't think of anything else.
No, Bill, no, really, we've got some stuff there, and I'll definitely put that on. And then just from time to time, Bill, if you ever feel like if there's any stories you want to put on, because I love all this, and I think that a lot of our fans will love all this because this is stuff that doesn't really get talked about, and it's great stuff, Bill. So I mean, from any time you want to come on, and you've got some bits and pieces you want to talk about, by all means. Otherwise,
see the match sometime, I expect.
Oh, absolutely. No, I'll get you a cup of tea or whatever your poison is. I mean, my poison tends to be beer.
I'm a beer man as well.
Oh, well then it might have to be a beer then. But of course, if I see you, Bill, of course I will. Where you're in the stand then?
Yeah, we always sit in the stand about on the halfway line, roughly, up at the back. Because I like looking down on the game, so we sit fairly well to the back.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'll see you around.
But I'll be there Tuesday. Listen, Bill, I'd love to catch up with you, and I obviously would love to have you on again. All right.
Yeah,
so,
okay,
it's an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, and we'll take care now.
You take care, Bill.
I might see you on Tuesday. I mean, we don't want to know what each other looks like, so we can't say hello, brother, how are you? But we'll get together sometime.
I'll just shout Bill, and then you see some fella wandering around talking to anyone and asking if their name's Bill, you can just ignore me.
I always wear a blue baseball cap.
Blue baseball cap. All right, then.
Baseball cap, and we sit about just the on the halfway line, up in the stand, about the 3/4 of the way up.
Okay. All right, Bill. You take care. Have a good day.
And that's another thing, by the way. If you wanted to go in the stand in the 50s, you had to pay extra.
Oh, did you?
Oh yeah.
Cheeky buggers.
Yeah, there used to be a turnstile where the end of the stand is. There used to be a turnstile, a fence and a turnstile there. And it wasn't much. It was about an extra few pennies, but you had to pay extra to go in the stand. Yeah. I don't know. I can't remember when they took that away. I'm not sure. But yeah, cool. that was a thing.
Yeah. Well, and on that bombshell, Bill, I'll wish you a good day and have you on again soon.
Okay, mate.
Take care. See ya.
Hello, Hughes fans. Well, the fixtures this week on the 24th of October, well, they don't make it easy for us. To get tickets for this fixture, we need to go on Eventbrite, spelt BRITE, that's .co.uk/E/Hastings-V-Hastings-1246077922261. And who says that football fans aren't discriminated against, eh? Don't get any of that wrong or it won't work. So it probably is easier to go on sevenoakstownfc.co.uk or at sevenoakstownfc on Twitter, and there'll be a link. So good luck getting tickets for that. Otherwise, on the 27th we have White Hawk at home. It's a 7:45 kickoff, and the way you get tickets is the much easier HastingsUnited.bigcartel.com. The women's side have Seaford Town on the 25th of October in the league. Confirmation on tickets is not available at this time of recording. Please check the Hastings United women's Twitter, which is HastingsUFCW, on all the latest for tickets for that fixture. Right, Hastings fans, in conjunction with the club, I can proudly announce our first Sussex by the Sea quiz. Here's Pat with the questions and the fantastic prize on offer.
So we're talking Sussex by the Sea quiz. We've got a quizmaster, the Quizmaster General, Pat McCrossan, and he's got a question for you.
Okay, so in the 2014-2015 season, we actually strayed off of the path of Sussex by the Sea on no fewer than 3 occasions with 3 different tunes. One of them was Cyril Stapleton, a throwback to the 80s. But what were the other 2 songs/tunes that were used as an entry for players? That's the question.
That is the question. Do you have the answers? Don't tell us yet. Yeah, don't tell us yet, Pat. What do the fans win if they win the quiz, Pat?
Okay, so whoever gets the correct answer, we will get them a shirt of their choice. Be that home, away or third kit.
And I've heard a rumour that you're going to present the shirt yourself, Pat.
I will present the shirt, and if they like, I will show them around the boardroom and show them what life's like behind the scenes on a match day.
Oh, wonderful. Brilliant. Wow. Who wouldn't want to send in for this? That's excellent stuff, Pat.
Yeah, we love our supporters. They do a lot for us, so just putting in something, like this back is a real pleasure.
Right, all you need to do, Hastings fans, to get this fabulous prize and the stadium tour by the great Pat McCrossan is write in with the correct answers to hufcpod@gmail.com or DM me on Twitter @hufcpodcast. The closing date will be the 10th of November and the winner will be announced on the 12th of November episode. So get emailing and tweeting, Hastings fans. And if there's multiple winners, then we'll pull the winner from Kev Towner's hat on the 14th of November at the Whitstable game. Now over to Pat McCrossan for his song pick of the week. Time again for the fan roundtable. Thanks to Ian, John, Ryan, George and Robbie for making it happen.
This is going to be a riveting one. Are you going to edit this together? I'm late because I've been clearing away any trace of Lego.
Yeah, they're not impressed. They're not impressed. And just for the mention of that Lego. Right.
It was good.
Hello, Ian. First of all, a very warm welcome to Ian Grant. We started talking from the HUFCactiveboard.com. That's the message board that myself
that you all love so much.
I don't know what you're talking about. I think I think it's a wonderful read. It's full of positivity. Yeah, I'll have a little read before I go to bed. It makes me feel good about the world. But no, Ian, please, obviously we're taking the piss. Please introduce yourself. Tell us how you first started supporting Hastings and your stuff with the message board if you want to.
Sure. I don't do much on the message board. I do post occasionally. I suppose I've been coming about 4 years. I think the first season I started coming regularly was the Darren Hare season, the playoff season, when we played some really crazy football. It was very entertaining. Before that, I've been a Watford season ticket holder for 20 odd years. So I used to go up to Watford home and away from Brighton and then Hastings. And I've got family commitments and stuff that make that hard now. So I come to the Pilot Field instead. I love it. It's great. It's me. I suppose I did a lot of writing for fanzines and ran and edited fanzines and stuff for Watford for quite a long time. So I've done quite a lot of writing. Doesn't mean I know anything, but I know how to spell.
Fair dues.
That's me.
So anyway, chaps. So we've obviously got Robbie, we've got John, we've got Rye, and we've got the Dark Knight, George, who can't afford a camera probably, or he's in the bath. I prefer it if it is dark, if he is in the bath.
I think he's surrounded by Subbuteo and Lego. And he hypocritically has a go at me.
Yeah. Well, you can't deny it.
I'm actually ironing.
What, ironing?
His wife from.
Fucking hell, John.
Only reasonable explanation is he's Iron Man.
That's fairly brutal. Sorry,
that's worth a kazoo. That's
right. So we move on from here. It's obviously been a very good week again. Oh yeah, excellent. It's been a very good week again for the boys and the girls. Does anyone want to kick off on the FA Trophy win? I select Robbie.
Robbie looks like he's in Florida or something. It's like bathed in sunshine.
He lives in Huntington.
Either that or his house is on fire.
He's also on mute.
Robbie, you're on mute. Why are you on mute?
Yeah.
That was riveting. I was riveting, Robbie. And should we move on to someone else? Not really. Robbie, please, go on.
He didn't miss much. I was just saying, my house probably is on fire, but it was worth it if Saturday's my last game, because what a game it was. Probably the most dominant performance, 3-0 flat as them, and probably one of the best atmospheres in the last couple of years. Not only this season, what an atmosphere it was in the crowd. We were dominant from the first minute. As I was speaking to Darryl earlier, there's not one player that stood out. Every single player on that pitch was equally fantastic. Normally you can pick out a player and go, oh, Ben Ward or Chalmers, they were fantastic today. But every single player on Saturday was so good, you couldn't really pick one out individually to say, yep, they were fantastic, head and shoulders by the rest.
Oh, nice. Okay. Anyone? Well, because I wasn't there, obviously, as I've been reminded. Anyone else want to add to that?
Yeah, I do. I think 3-0. It's just a classic 3-0. We were dominant. I thought FC Romania were a better side than VCD, actually. I thought they offered a little bit more. But we made them look really ordinary by controlling the game, controlling possession. So it was an even better performance than the previous Saturday. Great atmosphere again. The team is really good. I'm really, really glad to see that Ollie Black is getting the credit that he deserves, finally. Because he's been, obviously Jake gets a lot of credit for what he does at fullback on the other side, rightly so. But Ollie, people are noticing now what he gives to the side, not just defensively, but in the attacking sense as well, and help him produce that third goal.
This is professional. This is, as always, a professional product. Yeah, absolutely. John, do you want to chip in, or are you having a domestic?
No, I had a phone call coming through, but that's fine. Well, what did I miss?
Was it Aggie?
You were talking about
Was it
Ollie
Aggie?
Black. That,
Did he
yeah,
do-
it was. He's made threats again.
Was it what's his face? You know, I will find you and get you. What's the guy? What's it?
Liam Neeson.
Yeah, that's the
I
one.
was thinking, I'm wondering about what to put on the T-shirt. You know, like the Jesus walks on water thing.
Yeah.
Aggie walks on kittens.
Yeah.
It's just an idea.
Yeah.
Because it costs, it costs about £3 a letter. So I've got to think of maybe reducing it a bit. But if anyone's got any ideas and the colour scheme, do you think it's got to be
You not crowdfund it, John? Surely you could crowdfund it, couldn't you?
I could,
Well,
yeah.
Increase your letter count.
It's possible.
Get a mass movement going,
And I think,
He's all for mass
just
movements.
do the letters, capital letters, AAA, OOO. I think it's going to catch on.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was the question? Oh, you were talking about
Mm.
Ollie Black, weren't you?
Mm.
I don't know. The more you look through the side, everyone's playing, like Robbie was saying, with a confidence. And it ran the whole way through the team. But how does Ollie Black throw the ball? I can never work out where that's come from.
Throws with his dick. He throws with his dick.
Yeah.
Amazing. That's an amazing Billy.
Just incredible. It's the trajectory he gets on it. That's the thing.
Well, he gets the top spin.
Yeah.
It's the whiplash.
Okay. I don't know. I have no idea where this is going now. Come on, Rye. You're definitely the most sensible here. Your thoughts?
That's not a good sign, by the way. I think the first thing that I'd just like to put out there is a note for Craig Stone, who arrived at the ground at 2:58 p.m. on game day because he'd been with his Gillingham youth side in Northampton that day. So fair play to him for getting there and actually playing. And I think we were excellent. We weren't even in top gear for a lot of it. I think we got the first goal early on. Good to see Popey getting his first of the season. And we kind of settled into a rhythm where it didn't look like they would score, but if they did, we could just turn it up again, blitz them, and just play football our way. They were playing long ball football, which suited us. They booted it up. We could just take it, and we ran circles around them. So overall, good confidence-boosting win. Delighted that, as you say, Ollie Black's got some recognition with the Man of the Match title, and yeah, hopefully look to build on that for tomorrow.
Ian, did you make the game on Saturday?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I mean, I thought they were really poor, I have to say. And I thought, they had some quality.
We talked about FC Romania, You'll be as hated as John Wills.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I've come from the forum.
Get someone on who posts on the forum really and he's already slating us.
No, I thought FC Romania were really poor, and I thought I keep going back to something that Chris said in his interview on here a couple of weeks ago about how good are you on a bad day. And if you kind of look across our side, there's really nobody who's less than a 7 out of 10 on a bad day. When was the last time you saw Sam Adams had a bad game? And I looked at some of their players and just thought, well, you're not putting it all in, frankly. There was a moment in the first half where their number 4, who was quite sprightly, was 10 yards from the ball. Sam Adams was 20 yards from the ball, maybe a bit more, and Sam Adams won that race comfortably. And you just think, well, if I was your manager, and I just thought we just outworked them everywhere. We were just first at everything, and they had some technical ability, but we just, were in complete control of that game through the whole thing. It's about having players who are prepared to do the dirty work as well as the nice stuff. They had plenty of players who would do the nice stuff, but. You look at somebody like Ben Ward in midfield, and he's doing all the grubby stuff for the rest of the team. Ben Pope does it likewise. There's loads of players who do it.
I think that's something that Aggie's touched on.
There's really nobody who doesn't. Sorry, George.
Yeah, so I think that's something that Aggie's touched on. He's been giving praise to the front three for the work they've been doing defensively and praising them as a defensive unit from TC, Pogue, Pope, all those players up the top, Capon, for his injury. And it's good that, I think it's good that our manager's praising those players publicly for that as well. It's good to know that it's getting recognised across the fan base now as well, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
It's great to see Ben Pope get his goal as well.
Yeah, he's definitely earned it, hasn't he?
Absolutely. Well, you think you'd have him in the side every week, even if he never scored a goal, wouldn't you? Really, for the amount of work that he does for the rest of the team. But it's great to see him get a goal.
Yeah, very unselfish player, and provider of goals for other people. But when you're saying about what's been said about the front three, although we've lost some brilliant players, although our wide players.
You forgot who they are already, haven't you, John?
What's his name?
Yeah, Daniel Ajakai. Yeah.
But when you look at it, I think we're stronger as a unit because of that. Those front three are coming back, doing a lot of defensive or midfield sort of battling as well, aren't they? It's more of a tighter unit rather than these incredibly skilled luxury players. But maybe I'm being unfair because
you sound so much like George Graham, Arsenal. Incredibly skilled luxury players. What? I still miss Daniel Ajakai. I think he was. I would love us if we go up just to get him back because I think he's bloody brilliant. That fella, he's done so much work. Yeah, you want to be George Graham? That's up to you, John. This is on a list now. There's you got the manager after you. You'll have everyone after you soon, mate.
Well, that was last season's campaign to get them out team, and it worked.
Right, fellas. Let's move on. Did anyone make the women's game, the Challenge Trophy game?
I did, and I'm writing the match report as we speak.
Yes.
Oh, you're not interested in listening to any of us then?
No, not really, but
no.
I'm joking.
Go on then.
To this match report, then. Yeah.
Come on.
I'll give you the summary because I haven't actually finished it yet, but
Thanks.
it was both teams were really organised. I think. Oh God, what this team has a habit of doing is they'll kind of be organised and then they'll do everything in about an 8-minute flurry, like that 11-0 win. We had about, I think, 3 sets of goals where we just could not stop scoring at any point. And I think the thing is, the first goal from Rebecca Ralph, the most audacious lob from about 20 yards out, just loops over and in. And the second one, I think if you head over to Izzy Payne's Twitter, you can see it. It was a really good curling free kick. But this team is just so organised. And the fact is, they did concede a goal late on, but when you watch them, you don't feel like they're going to concede, but you always feel like they're going to score. And I don't know what that says about the level they're at, but considering they're such a new team and they've played, 3 or 4 games together competitively, I think they're doing really, really well.
Okay.
With these 11-minute bursts of play where the match is won, do you think you would suggest 5.5 minutes each way? Like Sabutio?
Everything's.
They're not laughing this week. They don't want to know, do they? They're not laughing this week, John.
Well, I don't know. John, feel free to suggest it to them. Go into their changing room and suggest it to them and see what they say.
Okay, all right. I'll give it a go.
So I have seen the free kick. Actually, I've not seen the first goal, but I have seen the free kick, and it was a lovely free kick. It's one of those, just kind of, hard to say, 30 yards out, bit of curl on it. Did the keeper, lovely, really good dead ball. I think she's probably one of the best dead ball players I've seen. I mean, she could probably challenge anyone for a free kick, I reckon. So yeah, it was true.
According to the match report, she's got a right foot bestowed upon her from God.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, George, you've gone quiet. You weren't there, were you?
I wasn't there. No, I wasn't at the game.
Was it only Ryan there then?
Well, another 150 people, but none of them are on this.
No. Okay, yeah, okay. Oh, smart ass. All right, and so we're doing this the day before the Three Bridges game.
Can I just ask,
Sorry.
what was the attendance for Saturday? Because wasn't it reported as 337 or something like that?
It was certainly 300 and something rather than.
I thought it was 37 something, 372 or 378. That's what it went down as on the non-league crowd's Twitter. So
Safety Dave numbers.
It just seemed like Robbie was saying, a really great atmosphere, and a lot of volume.
It wasn't a sellout.
It looked like it though. It looked like we had 400 there at least. But
there was precisely nobody from them that was there, so that didn't help.
No, that was a bit sad to see.
Wasn't it, really?
Perhaps that was the lack of motivation of their team to fight hard with their travelling hordes.
I know, because I saw that video. George put me onto the video for FC. How you say it? It's not Romania, is it? It's FC George.
Romania.
Romania.
Yeah. Fece Romania.
Romania.
And you saw that, and you thought, well, they're bound to have a bunch of loyal fans coming down. So that's a bit of a shame they didn't make it. But
I'm starting to think it was some of the players dressed up and did that video. based off.
Well, why not? Why not? They got 3 minutes. Right. Anyway, moving on. Three Bridges. I take it we're all going to be going. What are we thinking? It's got to be a home win.
11-0.
How have they done in their games so far?
They're 18th. They're second bottom with 3 points from 4 games, minus 7 goal difference.
Yes.
I mean, the whole thing was with East Grinstead, they were spared the relegation that their play last season deserved, and they went out and bought something like 20 players in this window. And now what? Are they top now, or they're suddenly challenging up there? Beat Ashford 3-0 away. They are absolutely wrecking this league now.
Early days. What was VCD like?
Well, the whole thing for us is I think our last home game of the season is at home to East Grinstead. So that could be an interesting one.
You are correct, yeah. Penultimate game, last home game, East Grinstead at home and Whiteleaf away.
Three Bridges have lost 4-1 away at Sevenoaks.
4-0 at home to VCD.
4-0 at home to VCD. They lost 3-2 to Whitstable with 2 injury time goals. They were 2-1 up. Beat Ramsgate. So, not a great start for them, really, to the season.
Yeah.
So we might sneak a draw.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm telling you, it's 11-0. It's going to be 11-0. Mark my words, 11-0.
How many's David getting?
4.
But Ian,
11-0 with all 11 players scoring. That'd be great, wouldn't it?
Oh, I like that. That'd be great.
Or is that greedy?
Nah, it's sexy. That's what that is.
Ian, what would be acceptable to the forum? And I know you don't speak for the forum. I'm just pissing around here. I'm only pissing around, right? But what would be acceptable scoreline? Because if it's only.
Well, there obviously will be complaints about our goal scoring potential if it's still in single figures by half time.
What we need to do is stop keeping the ball, because that obviously really annoys the forum. If you are keeping hold of the ball,
get it forward, but don't lose it. That's the key.
Yeah, only kick it forward. Only shoot. But only you have to score every time you shoot. That's the only thing you're allowed to do. Taking a touch is slow football. Imagine having a goalkeeper that's got this much footballing ability and not appreciating it. The comments about us doing 80 passes, I love it. We're loving it Saturday. Hope the Olays were heard far and wide across the grounds.
One of the things I think with Louis that's most impressive to me, suddenly watching from up in the PA box in the main stand, is how good he is at claiming crosses. I mean, whether he commands his box brilliantly. If there's a high ball, he gets it without trouble, which I think even if you look at some of the top keepers in the world, they struggle to do what he does. So I think that's one. Obviously, I think Aggie likes having him because he's really good with his feet. But if you're looking at sort of a traditional goalkeeper, his reflexes and the way he reaches to catch high balls is incredible.
That's very good, because the VCD did basically try to bundle him into the net every time they put the ball into the box. And, he held on to quite a few of those. And if you start sort of fumbling those, then you give the opposition something to work with and give the referee some decisions to make.
It breeds confidence into the rest of the defence with that. When you've got those two wise heads in front of him, everyone just feels really, really secure. Which means that Ollie and Jake can bomb forward, crack on with the attacking.
Absolutely. Right then, chaps. Let's move on to.
Did we mention about the draw for the trophy? I think that's a fantastic draw, isn't it?
I'll quickly touch upon the draw against Eastbourne.
Please do.
I think that's there for the taking because I think if you consider the fact that, we're at home, so because of the whole FA rules with them being an elite club, they won't be able to bring any fans, which I think is immediately an advantage. And I also think that if they're going to be coming to us, we've seen against Weymouth last season, Ebbsfleet this season, we are going to come out, they're going to come out and try to play us, and we're going to tear them apart. And especially if they do come to us resting first teamers, I think we're going to absolutely tear them to shreds.
Well, home draw, anything can happen. Anyone else got any thoughts?
Are they not allowed to bring any supporters then?
Because they're National League South and above, so they're considered an elite club. But because of the FA rules, because we're at home, we're able to have our fans in, but they can't have theirs. Like Ebbsfleet, because we were away at an elite club, we could have no fans. It's basically
Right.
It depends who the home team is as to who can come in. So yeah.
Load of crap, eh?
Don't worry,
if it's
just
not
sing so loud they hear you in Eastbourne.
If it's not football fans, there's some serious discrimination laws being violated there. Because it's football fans, they're allowed to do it. It's a ridiculous ruling. You're basically stopping someone going somewhere because of their personal beliefs. That's exactly what you're doing. If you're stopping Eastbourne fans coming to Hastings, it is exactly what you're doing.
Well, they should just say, we support Hastings.
Yeah.
Identify as Hastings fans.
That's the problem. They're going to have Hastings tattoos or something to prove that they're actually Hastings fans.
I'd vouch for him. It'd be a good laugh having some Eastbourne fans there. Like, I know him, come in.
You wouldn't do it in any other walk of life.
You don't go to the theatre going, do you want the villain to win? If you don't, then you can't come in, sorry.
I've noticed this. I've noticed this from Ryan. Ever since he's been in the PA box, once he's gone up to the PA box, he's got very posh and he's talking about the theatre all the time.
Bollocks.
That's a little bit better.
Let's move on to something interesting, Chris. Come on.
Well, let's move on to John Wills kicked my puppy.
Yeah.
Should we move on to that?
Do I want to ask?
No,
He's on to you, John. He's on to you.
Aggie's on to you on Twitter. Are your cards marked? You're a marked man.
Well, I think I'm going to die soon because my life's finally come together at an old age. Not only do I have my own song, but I've got a recognition from our Supremo about the puppy incident.
And you've got your own Lego collection.
Yeah.
Have you made dioramas of Agatha on the sidelines with Lego?
I have. I've actually got a major sort of Subbuteo team now, and I've painted his face on, so that rivals the Lego ones.
Okay, so hang on. Have you got Peter Heritage on the side? And if you have you got that sort of hair?
I had to use Tipex for that one.
And that's another enemy made.
Is that all you got, John?
Are you still, are you expecting more from me?
Anyway, so people called for life bans. There was calls for violence against you, John. This is just on Twitter. Aggie's on to the haters was the headline.
Yes. And
you're still going to carry it on?
Well, until the goal is achieved.
He's a patient man, is Chris.
We touched on the Seven Oaks on the weekend. 7 Oaks away, that'd be a good trip. Well, I say it's a shite ground. Last time we went, obviously, it was a horrible ground and a horrible clubhouse. Good pub beforehand, but the rest of it was rubbish until Benny Pope got a last-second penalty to equalise, which made it a great away day. So I'd rather not have drama.
Well. Yeah. Yeah, looking forward to that. Which hopefully will take quite a few. It's one of the easier ones to do from Hastings.
It's only
So,
about an hour, isn't it?
if not even that. So it's really quite doable.
Well,
Hopefully we'll take a lot.
currently working. I'm trying to get the day off, but
Tickets are available. It's all ticket on their website. £10.
Do you
£10
manage-
top price.
Ian, do you manage to get to away games?
I don't really at the moment. I'd love to, but just stuff. Life.
Fair dues.
No, I've done a couple in the past, and they were great. It's a great thing to do. I can completely understand why people do it. It's fantastic.
Well, you currently can't shout at away games, so just so you know.
Yeah, so I hear.
Claire Paulding appears.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going back to Faversham.
You have to make pretend drum sounds as well.
Oh,
That's
Beatboxing.
Doof, doof. That was.
Yeah.
Or you can see in the
One of
highlights.
those flip boards.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah.
That's all you can see in the highlights is me hitting their top of their stand, where it says it says where it says Haywards Heath Town, and it's just me hitting it with a drumstick for about 45 minutes. So imagine moving next to a football ground and complaining about the noise.
Ian, while you're on,
Sure.
obviously we made a few comments about about the forum. You've been on that. You've been on that forum for how long?
3 years, something like that.
Yeah, and obviously it was the only one I knew about because
I suppose all I would say in its defence is that I've been on a few internet forums for football in my time, and some of them are really poisonous.
Yeah,
and by and large it's fairly civil, and by and large it's people wanting to chew over the game and pick it apart a bit. And I know not everybody wants to do that, but that's sort of what it is. I do completely take the criticism that when things go well, you tend to get a thread of about 3 comments, and when things go badly, everybody's in there picking it all apart. I do completely take that.
A little bit of human nature, that isn't it?
It is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And because I've done a lot of writing about football, and it's easier to write about shit football than it is good football quite often. Sorry, go on.
It's inexcusable. It's a despicable thing. The next, what will happen next is you'll be called in for Aggie to go.
Just like your hero John Wills.
Yeah, that's why I've come on here. Really, it's the Trojan horse.
Yeah, let's go.
You're very quiet today, George. There's something going on.
He's hungover.
I am hungover. Yeah, I had a good day out in the old town yesterday. Got to rest up. Go again tomorrow. So be at the ground nice and early. Make loads of noise. Tuesday night game. Got 2 Tuesday nights at home in a row as well, which is brilliant. So yeah, looking forward to that.
I'm looking forward to it as well.
What do you think we'll get for a Tuesday night then? Weather getting cold.
Should be 400.
Should be, shouldn't it?
8 tickets left like an hour ago, so surely people will go.
Really? Oh, okay, that's great.
Because they know they know that they're a terrible team, and we're going to absolutely hammer them.
More bridges than fans.
They do have more bridges than fans, to be fair.
Come on, you got to pull that chant out.
Yeah, we did last time, and then we scored more goals than they had bridges, so that was good. Hope for that as well. It was like Gareth Bale's flag was Wales, Golf, Madrid, wasn't it? But for Hastings, 3 bridges, it's goals, bridges, fans. So, hopefully we'll get a bit more on that. It's going to be 0-0 now, isn't it? It's going to be 0-0.
Yeah.
11-0.
When we finish this, can you record me saying every single score?
Okay.
Then we can put it on the podcast on Thursday, and I got it right. That'd be great.
Yeah.
All right, fellas.
Are we going around doing predictions?
No, you're not allowed a prediction because Aggie wants you dead, mate. You're a marked man. Right. Anyway, we've got less than a minute. Right. Quick score predictions, Robbie.
11-0. Hastings.
Okay. Ian.
2-0. 5-0.
2-0. And 5 free scores. So that's 100.
I don't know.
270 minutes of football. That's amazing. You're going to work them to death, right? Rye.
5-1 to Hastings. Jack Dixon with 2.
Okie dokie. And George.
0-0.
Oh, yeah, fucking.
Duck him out.
No,
I hate predicting on my own team.
4-0, and Kenny Pogue's going to get a couple.
Oh, I love that. If he scores on the pitch.
It's on the
Top
pitch,
scorer.
right,
He's
anyway,
still top scorer. Yeah. Right.
chaps, hopefully see you all
No,
at the
you
game.
didn't ask me, I see.
Oh, have I not asked you, John? Go on then. It's about to cut us off anyway. Go on, John.
Come, end of the game.
Quickly. Right, that's it for another show, Hastings fans. Remember, if you want to get involved or give any feedback at all, I'm all ears. Email us on hufcpod@gmail.com or on our Twitter @hufcpodcast. All that remains for me to say is, I've been your host, Chris Laverick. Hope you have a good week and see you at the game.
Sussex by the sea, I'm going Sussex by the sea. You can tell them.